Good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you so much for joining another episode of Friday Night ForexNChill. It is Friday night, March 22nd, 2019, and we're so happy to have you here. Out with six-figure traders to learn market structure and other things phenomenal about the Forex market and tell you how we have people making six figures in under a year. If you see the flyer on the screen, we're having a US 30 boot camp here at Myrtle Beach. The information is there. It's open to the public. You do not have to be part of anybody's group or part of any other organization. It's anyone who's a trader who's interested in learning how to trade the US 30. If any of you are familiar with CAM is definitely killing the market with US 30. I'm going to be on the scene teaching market structure. Going to teach some wrinkles, just going to teach you overall how to be a better trader using your eyes as your tool. Because with market structure, your eyes are the greatest tool that you will ever have in the market. So you're all welcome to that. You can get it off the flyer here, or you can hit me up later. And it's going to be here in the beautiful Myrtle Beach. We have made reservations with the Avista Resort, Avista. It's a wonderful location. They've given us some great room rates, and it's all oceanfront. And let me see if our first guest is on. Terrell, are you on with us yet? He told me a few minutes ago he was logging on. He's over in Chicago. It's about 9 p.m. his time, and I just want to give him a shout out and thank him for joining us. Kay, have you jumped back on the chat yet?
Yes.
Not that Kay, the other Kay. Kay that was on here earlier with the 6-year-old daughter, Kay. Are you back on yet, Kay? I was going to give her a chance to talk about her week trading. She was giving us a phenomenal rundown of her growth and how she's had such a successful week. Again, we welcome you here to Friday Night ForexNChill. We have 3 people lined up tonight. Mr. Terrell Rolland, I see you're on. If you're ready, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to make you a co-host and let you do what you do. Y'all, if you don't know this guy, he was a part of our Markets Live. He mentored under the GOAT, Stevenson Lindor. He has a phenomenal story. I'll let him give you a little bit about his background, and I'm just making him a co-host right now. Terrell, you take it over and do what you do, and we thank you for being here.
Hey, what's up, Gigi? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn up the volume and see if I can hear you a little bit louder.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Are you sure? I mean, it could be me.
Yeah, I think you could be just a little bit louder.
Give me 1 second. I think I know what's going on. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right, you guys, he has a YouTube channel that he's building up called T Banks School of Trade. Make sure you subscribe to that. He also has a Telegram where he drops free analysis and free charts. We'll get you the link for that. If you could drop those links for me, Grant, if you have access to them. Part of his story, I can tell you, he made his first 6 figures in 7 months by trading market structure and by being disciplined and using proper risk management. He was working full-time, so you can be a full-time employee while being a part-time trader and reach goals like this young man did. He was only 27. He's recently turned 28, just celebrated his birthday, took an impromptu flight down to Miami. You know, that's the kind of life that being a successful Forex trader can afford you. I'd like to give a shout out to one of my new traders, David. He took a $100 account to $247 this week. I would like to give a shout out to Eric. He's been trading about 2 months, and by Wednesday, he had a $5,000 week. And I'd like to give an even bigger shout out to my brother. You know, he started trading a little over a year ago, and for a whole year, he traded nothing but a 0.20, made 6 figures swing trading at a 0.20. And I talked to him a little over a month ago, and I was like, hey, man, it's time. You know, you got the skill, you got the discipline, you got the mindset, just increase your lot size and see what happens next. So he just increased a 6-figure account to 1.0, and he's made a little over $19,000 for the month of March. So I'd just like to give him a big shout out. He's very basic, very simple, very structured trader. He doesn't, use any magic strategies or potion. He just follows basic market structure using a trend line, the MACD, and he did it. You guys can do it too. Terrell, just let me know when you're back.
Yeah, I'm back now. Can you hear me?
All right, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So, what's up, everybody? How everybody doing tonight on this good Friday, this cold Friday in Chicago? So, yeah, a little bit about myself, if you all don't know me. Again, like Gigi said, my name is Terrell, currently in Chicago. Born and raised. I just turned 29 as of 9 days ago. So I'm still trying to get used to that. I got one more year before I hit that big 3-0. So this is the year for me, But with that being said, a little bit about myself, about my story in the actual trading world. I actually saw this 1 year and 3 months ago, guys. As of January 1st, 2018, I was introduced to Forex. A friend of mine from Atlanta wanted to share the opportunity with me. She showed me. I looked at it and I said, okay, cool. I see the money and all of that and everything like that, but it's like, are you all going to teach me? Like, somebody going to teach me how to do it? Because I want to learn. I just don't want to make money. I want to learn the skill set. And they told me, yeah. So, I jumped on board because I'm an opportunist. Like, I understand opportunity. Got involved, and once I got involved, I blew my first 3 accounts, like the snap of my finger. So when that happened, I had 2 choices. I either, 1, quit, which was not really an option for me because I don't quit. But I could either quit or I can actually buckle down, sit down, and tell myself, look, you're going to figure this thing out. So, of course, I went with option B. Found the mentor. Believe it or not, I actually accidentally ran into him going to find someone else. And with me finding that mentor, he literally changed the course of my life. And I just was talking to him today while he's out the country because he called. And I just had to, just thank him again because, where I'm at in life today is just unreal compared to where I had no idea just a little bit over 12 months ago I could possibly be here, So, man, it changed my life. And now I'm here just continuing to progress, continuing to help others as, that goes on. I actually made my first 6 figures. I started my account once I learned everything. I actually turned a $2,000 account, and starting at the beginning of May, and by the end of December, I was at $107,000, and still going up from there. Well, I done took money out and things like that, but just still progressing, still getting better. I want to say as of last week was my first week this year that I did not have a $10,000 week. Last week was my worst week, and I still made money. So just continuing to get better, like I said, guys, and continue to show others. And shout out to Eric, man. That's one of my close guys. As of a couple of months ago, he reached out to me for mentorship, and now I'm hearing he having $5,000 days. I love hearing those things like that. Shout out, I don't know if Cassandra's on here. She had her first $1,500 day flip to account. So definitely glad to see you all winning big. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I don't know, Gigi, if there's something else you wanted me to kind of.
Sounds good, man. Do what you do on those charts, and then open it up for questions. Just
okay, cool.
cover some basic market structure for everyone.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, I'm not sure if anybody like Grant, I know Grant and Gigi told you all about my YouTube channel. That's one of my biggest things when it comes to trading. The most important aspect to my physical trading is market structure. And one of my favorite sayings, as Grant and Gigi always know, is always know where you at in the market. When you always know where you at in the market, you never have to worry about being lost. You never have to worry about, oh man, is it it's never a guess. Does that make sense? So it's never a guess with you when it comes to where you're at, like what's going on, stuff like that. It's not, oh man, I need to pretty much, hold on, my stuff is freezing. Okay. Yeah, can you all see my screen? My computer is just acting crazy right now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so okay, it's never a guess. It's never like, where am I at? What should I just do a penny lot size? Because I'm not sure. Like, I want you all. One of the things I always tell everybody is I want you all to trade with confidence, because that's more than half the battle right there. You can learn all the ins and outs, but if you're not trading with confidence, like, your mindset has to be there, and with the mindset being there comes knowing where you're at in the market. And how do you know you're at in the market? You base your analysis on your market structure, pretty much. So what I always tell people is I always start out at the monthly. Why the monthly? I'm sure somebody on here can tell me. Why do I start out at the monthly? Not Grant, not Gigi. We don't need no cheaters on here. Anybody?
Gives you the overall look of the market.
Right. So yeah, everybody knows it gives you the overall look of the market, and you know that's a great thing to say. That's the right answer, actually. But you know, people just say that and not understand what that means. What that means is that actually lets me know what price has been doing for the past 20, 30 years. I need to know all of that when it comes to me. When it comes to me actually dictating what's going on within today or within tomorrow, within the next 6 months. I need to know everything like that. So the first time frame that I start at is, of course, the monthly, which is the highest time frame, which is the most important time frame. So what I do is when I actually go into my monthly time frame, I actually box in price starting off. The ultimate goal is with your trend lines, you want to trap price with your trend line. So what do? Is I grab my horizontal, and this is the only time when I personally use support and resistance. So I use support and resistance to box price in, to trap it, so I can get a good clarification on where price is currently heading and where it's currently at. So I see right here and right there. I see this is a struggle area as well. So I'll actually put price, some resistance right there. And now I'll drop down to my weekly time frame. Now my weekly time frame, this is when it starts to get good. This is when I use my trend lines. So me using my trend lines, I always look for the ultimate trend on that time frame. I like to use typically one trend line per time frame until I get down to the smaller time frames. So it's much cleaner, and I'll show you that in a minute. So on my weekly, going from my monthly down to the next lowest time frame, going to my weekly, I see a what? Downtrend, correct? Now you all remember the market moves in three different ways: impulse, flag, continuation. Impulse, flag, continuation. No matter the time frame, no matter whether it's the weekly, no matter whether it's the monthly, all I see is impulse. All I see is impulse, flag, continuation. I don't care if it's the 1 minute. All I see is impulse, flag, continuation. It doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters when it comes to the actual market. It doesn't matter the time frame, doesn't matter the pair. What I always tell people is what I'm teaching you how to do is I'm teaching you how to read an overall chart. It doesn't matter what pair you're on. It doesn't matter if you're on US 30. Doesn't matter if you're on gold. It doesn't matter. It does the exact same thing the entire way. Is how I read the market. Impulse, flag, continuation. And there's no other way you can tell me, no other pair that you can tell me in like that I know of in the entire Forex market, whether it's an indices, whether it's a commodity, whether it's a company. You can't tell me that it does not move like that. What goes down goes up, then it goes back down for the continuation, and what goes down goes, what goes up comes down and goes back up for the continuation. It doesn't matter what it is. So I know a lot of people love US 30. I personally never really traded it, but I just wanted to show you all. You can do it. Don't matter, like, for that pair that you all love, you can do the exact same thing. So with that being said, actually, because I deleted everything, I actually go back here. Again, I started my monthly. I box price in. Why do I box price in right here? Because I noticed this is an area where price struggled. within a recent years or whatever. It struggled in this area. Remember, understanding market structure also means with me using candles, I have to understand what time frames mean. With each time frame candle represents that time frame, meaning I'm on the monthly. This candle represents this month. The last candle represents last month, the month before, the month before. As you can see at the bottom, you see March 2019, February 2019, January 2019, December 18, November 18. So you understand that? Now when you go to the weekly, each candlestick on the weekly represents 1 week. This is this week, last week, the week before that. Now you also have to understand what you understand in time frames. I like to teach my students and stuff like that. And Gigi know, I like to teach my students that understand how many candles go into each time frame. So what do I mean by that? How many candles on the weekly goes into a month? How many candles in a daily goes into a week? So if I know that 4 candles is 1 month, I know that my recent area on my weekly was in that month. Or if I know 5 candles going to a week, I know that recent area of candles is for this weekly. It all adds up when it comes down. So don't want to get too technical with you all, because I can get I can be very, very simple, because I'm very simple when it comes to me teaching. But I know some people are probably like brand new traders, so I kind of want to slow it down for you all even more. So with that being said, like I said, I will go to my weekly. I will draw my trend lines. I draw my 1 trend line. I see I'm in a downtrend here. So with that downtrend, remember, impulse, flag, what comes after? A continuation. That could possibly be that. But I'm not lost in the market. I understand where I'm at in the market just on my weekly. Now I go down to my daily. What is my daily telling me? My daily told me this was a flag. My daily is telling me this is currently a flag. Now, if I drop down time frame so you all can get a cleaner look, because sometimes you don't have to draw trend lines on specific time frames. If you don't see it clearly on a higher time frame, guess what? Drop down to the lower time frame. When you drop down to the lower one, you get a closer and clearer look in the actual on the actual chart. And like I said, and why is that? Like I just went from the daily to the 4 hour because I got a closer look. Because how many 4 hour candles is in the day? Because the daily wasn't clear for me for a trend. Now I can actually drop down and get even deeper in it. I have 6 candles, 6 4 hour candles in a day, so I can get a clearer trend trace, if that makes sense. So you see, I had this overall uptrend on my daily, but then what happened? This broke through, and this actually I caught this as a really, really nice sale coming into Friday this morning through news. See, I have my indicators on and everything. Let me get that out of there now. Yeah, but with that being said, I gotta delete it over there. But yeah, with that being said, I actually understood that I was coming to an end of my daily flag. Why do I say my daily flag? Because on the daily, remember, market does 3 things: impulse, flag, continuation. This was my impulse here. This was my flag here. That was my continuation. This entire move right here was a flag right here. So I knew at some point, because it kept respecting this trend line, guess what was going to happen? It was going to break through for the continuation through. So another way that I actually show you all, I don't want to get very, very technical again, but when you start noticing patterns, I heard Gigi mention it earlier to you all. When you start noticing patterns with your eyes, it's pretty much all indicator you need. The other indicators are just confirmations. Like if you can get into the trade with strictly your eyes, that's all you need a lot of the times. Your eyes will tell you everything that's going on. So with that being said, every time price got to this area, this is EU, just so you all know. This is one of my trades for next week as well. I'm looking for a really, really nice sale in EU. Every time price came right here in this area, guess what we got? We got big drop. Matter of fact, We got 400 pips, 400 pips, 300 pips. So guess what I'm expecting? The exact same thing minimum. It's easy patterns. Yeah, get that out the way for y'all. Yeah, so easy patterns. The market does it all the time. The same exact thing. And now at some point, I'm going to expect price to actually really break through just from the actual daily. And at some point, we may see price get to this monthly low. So if you look left, looking left here, see this consolidation here, right? All in this area. So I'll actually mark that up. See that? That's why we got that consolidation here. At some point, that's gonna bust through, and we're gonna get that continuation to the downside, just like that. So what I do is I always tell people these 3 time frames tell me what I'm looking for, buy or sell. If you all understand, by the time I got to my daily, I already knew what I was looking for, just based off of the 3 principles: impulse to move, flag, continuation. Just off of those 3 principles, I saw that by the time I got to my daily. And when I break that down from these 3 time frames, I go to the 2 time frames that I trade off of, because I'm a swing/position trader. What does that mean? That means I actually trade to catch big pips. So I pretty much don't waste my time with anything under triple digits. 100 pips is usually my minimum, but I'm really shooting for 300, 400, 500 pips in the trade. That's what I love to actually get. I'm very, very patient in the market. I personally don't start trading till around Tuesday to Wednesday throughout the week, because I notice the market does not really move until then. The market favors scalpers when it comes to when it opens, and I'm not that guy. I'm not the person to sit in front of my phone all day and try to catch something going up and then getting out, try to catch it going down. Like, no, I'm the type of person, I want the big moves. I chase the big pips. So me understanding that, I actually sit back, I wait, I trade off my 1 hour, my 4 hour, and I enter the market off of these smaller time frames. So for anyone who knows how I trade, anyone who knows how when they catch any of my signals, how I catch 300, 400, 500 pips on 8 pip, 10 pip, 11 pip stop losses, and it doesn't even come close. That's why I use these for my actual, that lets me know what I'm looking for, a buy or a sell. This tells me when my sell and buy is ready. This tells me when to get in my buy and sell. So with that being said, I'll actually go to another pair, and I'll kind of go a little quicker. Another pair, what am I looking for? This is probably, I know y'all been hearing me, y'all been hearing me talk about this for the longest. This pair right here, and I'm going to start all the way over. Remember, we go to the monthly. Now remember, when I go to my monthly, I personally start boxing price in right then and there. So box here, box here. See, I look left, price struggled in this area. So what is that telling me? It's telling me this is a monthly high right here. Last time price came here, it struggled before it eventually got that breakout. So even if you look, again, we on the monthly. Impulse to move, flag. What comes after the flag? The continuation. At some point, we're going to get that. But again, we're not trading off the monthly. I'm just showing you an idea how even on the monthly time frame, I'm almost pretty much able to tell you all what my actual trade is, what I'm looking for in my actual trade. So break that down to the weekly. Now I go from boom, boom. Now look, now I'll show you all this again, and I'll break it down even more. Impulse to move, flag, continuation. Flag, continuation. Flag, continuation. What comes after the flag, guys? Continuation. I know I at least need this. That move alone, remember, the bigger the time frame, the bigger the pips. That's a 1,000 pip move. That has to come. There's no way, even if the market decided to go up here at some point, guess what I have to get first? I have to get this. That is a must. That's how the market moves. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters what I'm looking for. I know 1,000 pip move is coming in due time. So I drop down, go down to my daily. Now, whatever happens in the market does not happen on accident. And Gigi, Grant, I'm not sure if Charlene is on here, but a few people can attest to this. Now, people saw this huge spike up today, actually. That did not happen on accident. Why did that happen? Because why? At first, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have any of this towards the beginning of the week. We didn't have that. So guess what happened? The market did exactly what I just said. It did an impulsive move, a flag, a continuation. A flag, a continuation. It had to give us this daily flag. Eventually, we are going to get this weekly flag. It's continuing to respect right here. But at some point, that price is going to drop. So let me delete all of that so you all can see. So as you all can see, let me turn that off. Exit. Go to the 4 hour. It came down to this trend line on the daily. And then guess what? It respected it and it started to shoot back up. So when I dropped down to my 1 hour, remember that's what I really trade off of. My 1 hour is pretty much showing me that this is nothing. This is an overall downtrend right here. Showing me this is an overall downtrend because with my eyes, I can tell, I can look at the pattern and tell I'm going to get that continuation to the downside. Now, this week coming up is Brexit. So I'm being very, very cautious, knowing that it's Brexit coming out this week. What Brexit actually does is it can move the market either way, depending on what the house of that actual country of Great Britain is doing. It can make the value of the dollar go up, or it can make the value of the dollar really, really drop. Most of the time, what happens is structure will show you what it's going to do before it actually does it, believe it or not. That's why this week alone on news, I've been able to catch 100. I caught 150 pips on GN for NZD news 3 days ago. I caught 90 pips on UJ for the FOMC news 2 days ago, and I caught around 110 pips this morning on EU and ECAD, 100 pips a piece on both of those, based off of ECAD news. Off of EUR news, off that big drop that I showed you all a few minutes ago. So the reason why is not because, I got the inside scoop on, what's about to happen in the news. No, knowing simple market structure. Simple market structure tells me every single time what's about to happen in the market before it happens. So again, if everything is looking right from what I'm seeing, me dropping down to a smaller time frame to get a clearer picture of this. Not sure if you all I may be ahead of some people, but this is showing me a reversal pattern starting to form. So we may get a bigger reversal pattern. We just have to wait and see. I personally don't like how this started to look at the end of the market. If it was doing something like this at the end of the market, I'll be more confident in that immediate sale. Again, I know it's Brexit, but usually what happens when the market is closing, you get a clean, let me see, go to my 4 hour. Usually my 1 hour, my 4 hour, whichever time frame. Take this off for you all. Remove. Going into the actual close of the market, what happens is the market starts to flag up. So if the market's starting to flag up, I know for sure that price is going to get ready and go into that direction. We don't have a clear flag on GA, so I'm still cautious. Again, we have that Brexit news coming up this week, but as of right now, I'm still waiting on this clear sale that I've seen all the way back in my higher time frames. Understanding, knowing the simple fact that at some point I have to get this flag. And this flag alone from my higher time frame will produce me 1,000 pips. And who knows, because price stays up here for so long and it continues to retest, we may be at the beginning of our move all the way to our monthly continuation. We may be at the very top of that, and we may see price get down here. And that move alone from here to here, that'll buy your mansion you all wanted. That's 4,000 pips on the second highest Forex spread, out of them. Like GN is the first, GA is the second. That's a 4,100 pip move to the downside that we know based off of our simple impulse to move, flag, continuation has to happen. At some point, it has to break out of here. So that's very, very exciting. That's something I'm pretty much keeping my eyes on every week until we get that move. Let me go to the daily. I done caught all types of moves. I done caught this move right here. I caught this move here. I caught this buy here. Now I just want to get at least this. This is that weekly right here. And then I'll start looking for that monthly move to the downside. Does that make sense? Should I do another one or?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Make sense? Okay. Any questions on any of that, Gigi? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
I just want to know if you could do another one.
Hi, Terrell. Can I ask a question?
Yeah. You said somebody shoot me up.
Hold on 1 second, Kathleen. Someone else said something first. Could you speak up?
Oh, yeah, I was just saying if he could just do another one on GP. I appreciate that. That was a good insight.
Oh, yeah. No problem. Another pair that I'm personally.
I have a question before you leave off of that pair.
Hey, what's up, Sheila?
What's up, Sheila?
How you all doing?
You ain't called me back, man. I'm mad at you.
I was asleep last night when you had texted me. I was asleep.
I'm mad at you. We'll talk.
I'm ready for you, though.
Nah, I'm just okay, cool.
When you know that you're gonna get expecting 1,000 pip move, how can you figure out and know where your pullbacks or your flags are at?
Can you say that one more time? I want to kind of get a better insight on the question.
When you're anticipating a large move like that, 1,000 pip move, how can you figure out or determine where your pullbacks or your flags are?
Okay, yeah. Pretty much you look left. So for instance, let me delete everything. So let me show you. Let me actually go to a higher time frame so I can get more of the market. When you look left, it pretty much shows you. So like right here, you can see right here, that was an uptrend. You see right here, that was a downtrend, right? I got a impulsive move. I got a flag here. I got a continuation. Small flag, continuation. Flag, then I got to that reversal area. Look left. See that flag? See that continuation? Hold on. My stuff freezing, lagging. Give me 1 second. Delete all that. So
all that money you made this week, time to get a new.
So impulsive move. You see this flag? Look left. See that? See this continuation? Flag right here. Look left. Same place. Continuation. Reversal. Look left. Then it reverse right here. When it went up, left pretty much shows you like what you would typically do is if you all take signals from anyone, when you all may not know, but you have your TP1, TP2, TP3, they look left. And when they look left, they just see the consolidation that happened previously on that time frame or previously on that pair. So typically, if I'm looking for a huge move like that, so if I'm looking for that 1,000 pip move or that 4,000 pip move, I'm looking left to see where are my potential areas where it can not only just flag, but potentially overall reverse on me. So even like right here on my monthly, if you take this all the way here, you see that's where I got my consolidation at. You know what I'm saying? I got small consolidation here. Just looking left. Remember, again, this is the monthly, so it's going to take a long time for that. So that's to be expected. But what happens on one time frame happens on them all. It doesn't matter. Just the bigger the time frame, the harder it is for it to break it. You know, because it takes a longer amount of time. But if I was on a time frame like the 5 minute, it'll eventually break that struggle. So again, I just look left. See this downtrend on my 5 minute. See this uptrend. Because even on flags, you have flags within flags and all types of stuff like that. So that's a flag here. You see here, pretty much straight left, same exact thing. Same exact thing. See, I got straight move down. I have a straight move down. Pretty much identical. That's how the market, it's an eye test. Like once you study the market enough, you start seeing the same patterns. You start seeing the same exact thing. That answer your question a bit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So again, flag here, and it's the same like flag there for that uptrend. It was a flag right here for that downtrend. It's just something you just start noticing. The more you mark up, that's what I always tell everybody, especially like you know, if you've been a part of boot camp before, you're a private student of mine or something. That's why we had you mark up so many charts, daily, weekly, monthly. You know, 25 pairs. 25 pairs. Eventually, your eyes are gonna start adjusting and seeing these same patterns. So, like questions like that, you know exactly how to answer because you know I gotta just look left. So if I'm trading off of my 4 hour, off my 1 hour, I'm looking left. I may shoot my signal. Let's see if I can. Yeah. So I may tell you to buy.
So to when you have a strong pullback, let's say you're in a sale, like you said, it's going to drop 1,000 pips, hypothetically. And then you notice that it's a strong pullback that's actually high. Do you actually ride that bad back up, or do you just stay focused on your sale?
That's a great question. Typically, what I would tell everyone, and everyone will hear me say, I just stay with the trend. But if I'm chasing something like a weekly flag, I personally don't mind catching the flag, which I know I personally don't mind catching, like I'm on the overall downtrend. But if I got a 200 to 300 pip move to the upside, sometimes I may catch that depending on, you know, the actual move and the actual pair. Because I actually caught G Chef flag earlier yesterday, I'm sorry. And that flag alone was 300 pips. So, I mean, not 300 pips, 100 pips. Yeah, 200 pips right there. That was a 200 pip flag. And I caught that after catching this. Not the whole thing, but most of it. I think I caught it towards this flag right here. Missed that, then I rolled it back up. So depending on the actual opportunity, if you know, like I just showed you, Sheila, when you chasing 1,000 pips and you chasing overall weekly flag, so you understand, remember like I said at the beginning, understanding your time frames, understanding what you actually chasing and everything like that. We know at some point this has to happen. So because we're on the weekly, how many candlesticks form on the weekly? Just in 1 week, just one. So that's one candlestick all the way here. You're going to have a lot of up moves in this. How many, like that alone, I just drew 4 little, of course, it's not going to look like this, but for instance, just these little lines that I just drew right here, that's pretty much 2 months worth of candles. And we know you're going to have more than that. So eventually, if we catch the top of this 1,000 pip move, we're going to have some big up moves inside of that. So yeah, as long as you know, if you properly know how to swing and you properly like know how to compound your money and things like that, of course you can stay in this sale from the very beginning. And you can make money throughout, because me chasing something off the weekly, I may get a daily flag because that's a smaller time frame, and that daily flag is going to be a move to the upside, just like we saw in EU, which, and I'll kind of give you a visual. EUR USD. Just like we saw on that daily flag here on EU. This daily flag right here produced over 300 pips. Yeah. Zoom. Yeah. Produced over 200 pips. So, like, yeah, same thing. So you'll do the exact same thing. Like I said, impulse flag continuation, that's all that matters when it comes to the charts. You'll never be lost. So you won't be lost to catch that 200 pip move to the opposite side because you know what happens on one time frame happens on them all. You know you got to catch. You got to get. If I had a remember the market usually the old saying the market usually gives back 50% of what it gave you. So if you just caught 600 pips, guess what the market got to do? Ride up 300 pips. If I know that pretty much, I don't need the whole 300. Give me 150. Give me half a half. I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? So if you know you chasing a big move like that, then I say yes. If you chasing something small, Sheila, like maybe 200 to 300 pips, then I say no. I don't trust trying to swing both ways. Like, you know, that's gambling at that point in my head. I personally would just stay on my 300 pip move to the downside. But something like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 pips or something like that, you know, a lot of big moves are going to happen inside of that. Make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
No problem. I know somebody asked me to mark up something else. So
I said GBP, CAD. Okay. You got it? Okay.
I'm on G-Chef. Did you say you on G-Chef? That's cool, or because this is actually one of my favorite pairs I'm looking at as well. And that's kind of hard for me to say that because
boss, do what you want to do.
Oh, okay. No, it's cool. I can do GCAD too.
I actually caught G-Chef. G-Chef was love.
Yeah. I actually remember, guys, I told you at the beginning, I blew my first 3 accounts. Me and this like baby right here, we hate each other, but we've been working it out. We've been talking stuff like that. We came to an agreement. You know what I'm saying? So she treated me right this past week, so I'm back on her. But this is another great opportunity. Actually, mostly all the GBPs are great opportunities, but this one I like to look at the best opportunities. How do I determine what's the best opportunity? I typically look and see what's clean all the way through from the monthly all the way down to my 1 hour. You know, so when I see it's a clean sell or a clean buy on all time frames, then I say, okay, cool. That's a great opportunity. That's a clean opportunity for this week. You know, because typically I always tell people you don't have to trade, 10 or 15 different pairs a week. I look for the best 2 to 3 setups. I wait for those setups to be ready, and I go ham on them. And that allows me to, determine whether I decide I want to go back to work one of these days or not. Which is starting to look like I'm not. I'm starting to look like I'm not even going to have a chance to.
Well, if $10,000 was my typical week, I doubt I would go back to work.
Yeah. So right there. Matter of fact, let me start over.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Say it takes about a week or so to complete that 1,000 pip move. So the next week, do you continue to focus on that pair, or do you analyze another 3 different pairs?
Well, one thing you want to do, first let me answer this. Typically, it's going to take more than a week for a 1,000 pip move to happen, typically.
Okay.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is, you always mark up. I pretty much like to have all my main pairs, all my major pairs marked up for the week, regardless if I actually trade those that week or not, for 2 reasons. One, the first reason is, again, the more you mark up, the more your eyes get better. The more you start to actually see patterns. You start, that's why marking up is key. It's not just about, I want to trade this. No. Guys, you all spend more time marking up and back testing than you will trading every single week. It does not matter. That's like you're gonna mark up all the time. And number two, second reason why I mark up is not just to get better with my eyes and everything like that, but it allows me to see what other great opportunities are out there. You know what I'm saying? Because what was one great opportunity this week may not be a great opportunity next week. Make sense?
It does.
So yeah, so I pretty much, that's how I go about that. So give me 1 second. My stuff. Okay. So yeah, so going back into the markup again, I'll start over because sometimes I forget I'm teaching. So I get back, I just start moving. I gotta slow down. So again, on my monthly, I just do 2 support and resistance lines. I just want a box price in. As you can see, throughout the course of all the way in 2020. So right now, price has been struggling in this area. So I boxed that price in with support and resistance on the monthly, drop down to my weekly, look for my trend. I see I got a clear what? Downtrend, right? Me having a clear downtrend, how does the market move again, guys? Somebody tell me.
Impulse correction, continuation.
And post correction continuation, right? Just based off of what I'm saying right here, what should I be looking for?
Continuation.
Continuation where?
Down.
Right. To the downside, right? Remember, we haven't even got to our daily yet. So now, on my daily, what do I see on my daily? I seen I had a clear uptrend that got what? This past week, it got broke. Now, anytime price breaks, that's confirmation that that trend has ended. Why did it get broken? Because this trend line, 2 to 3 bounces confirms a trend. This was one bounce. This was the second bounce. On that second bounce, it broke through. Not only that did it break through, I know overall in my head, based off of my weekly trend line, this was my downtrend. This was the first bounce. This was the second. Does that make sense? So I know this was a daily flag that got hit, and it hit my weekly trend line. And now that it bounced on my daily, it broke through that daily flag that formed. And now because it broke through that daily flag, somebody already said it earlier, I'm expecting that true continuation down. Now, to answer, like to go back to what Sheila asked earlier, remember, how do you know when that flag is going to hit? Once you get the breakthrough, you always get the breakthrough, it's going to retest, and then you're going to get the continuation. So if someone caught this at the top of the daily trend line, that alone produced you over 300 pips. Remember, price takes back 50%. So you have, I just showed you all, I caught that buy. I caught the flag in the buy earlier, actually yesterday. The flag in the buy that actually produced, which is right here that you can see, over almost 200 pips, 150 pips. What's half of 300? 154, right? Well, not 154, but you get what I'm saying. So these things don't happen on accident, guys. Everything, now you all understand and see how everything is adding up. Again, to answer Sheila's question, it is flagging up right. It flagged up right here. Sheila, look left. What happened? Throughout the duration of the last, since 2017 that I can see, I got a flag here. Consolidation here. Flag here. Flag here. Now where am I at? Flag. So it broke through. Of course, I got to get that flag. Then I'm getting that continuation to the downside. So I know I can just scrabble everywhere. So I'm going to kind of clean that up for y'all. I get it. I get carried away sometimes. But to show you all, again, it broke through. Now, what do? Remember, when I trade off of the higher time frame. I mean, I trade off of the 4 hour and the 1 hour. And just like I showed you all may not have been able to see the flag as clear on the daily. But again, how many 4 hour candles are inside of a daily? 6. So it produces me a clearer eye to where I can see that clear flag that's forming. So this clear flag form. So now I know pretty much at the beginning of the week, next week, I could be looking for this clean continuation to the downside. Again, Brexit is this week, so we will definitely keep an eye. But like I said, typically what happens is news usually shows you what's going to happen. I mean, not news. Structure shows you what's going to happen for news. That's why it's typically not too hard to really catch. You pretty much always have an indication of what's going on before it happens. What's that? Oh, okay. So did that make sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Is that a little bit more clear for you all? Like how the way I just like broke that down, or any questions?
Very
Or
clear. Very clear.
okay.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
Cool.
Hey,
So now go ahead.
I got a question. How do you incorporate your pips on those large moves? I mean, I'm sorry, your stop loss. I'm sorry, your stop loss on them large moves.
That's actually getting into the entries. I know we supposed to just be going over structure, but you typically, like let's say for instance, I don't do this, but this is typically how it would go. If you trading off for a certain time frame, they used to teach. I ain't gonna say they used to. A lot of traders actually do teach it still. But the way I trade, I would never risk this amount. But typically, I see a flag is forming, and typically, what you want to do is you want to, catch your entry inside of a flag. So if I'm trading off the 1 hour, remember what I said. My rules are determine what I'm looking for, buy or sell in these 3 time frames. Determine when the buy and sell is ready on these 2, the 4 hour and 1 hour, and then I actually enter off of these. Why do I enter off of these? I want to tight as entry as possible. What does a tight entry give me? A tight stop loss. What does a tight stop loss give me? It gives me the opportunity to not risk as much money in the market on my actual trade. And if I'm not risking that much money on my trade, what does that allow me to do? Up my lot size a bit. So if I'm usually a 0.50 person, now because I'm confident with my tight stop loss, and I do because trading is nothing but understanding the numbers, understanding percentages. If I have a smaller percentage of getting stumped out, I have a bigger bigger opportunity to trade a higher percentage on my lot size. But typically, if I'm trading off the hour, what some people teach, if you trade off the hour, your stop loss should be based off of the hour. So if I see a flag forming right here on the hour, and I'm trading off of that, and I got in right here, my stop loss needs to be above the previous high. And where's the previous high right here? The previous high is on 147 pip stop loss. I will never, you hear me, never have 147 pip stop loss. So typically, just say for instance, if I was to enter the market right here, this is my entry. My stop loss will be somewhere in this area. Previous high, 25, 30 pips. And this is a high spread. Me personally, my stop loss probably be somewhere within 15 to 16 pips. And then I'll be chasing that overall. This would be typically peak TP1, 160 pips, TP2, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm risking 15 to 25 pips to potentially catch 600 to 700 pips. Make sense?
Okay, I got you. I was just thinking that the larger the higher time frame is different for some reason, but I follow you. Thank you.
I'm about to say it's all about breaking it all the way down. So one thing that I always teach my students, and Gigi can attest to it, I teach my people how to read it from the monthly all the way down to the 1 minute. Then what I mess around and do is I teach them how to read it from the 1 minute all the way back up to the monthly. So I teach them how to read it both ways. Why is that important? That's important because understanding flag patterns, understanding what's going on, allows you to not risk all of that money. Like you said, if I'm trading off of the 4 hour or the daily, like most people, they think you have to have your stop loss based off of that time frame. No, you don't. It's just about knowing how to read it all the way through. Does that make sense?
I got you. Thank you.
Cool.
I follow.
Okay, cool. So Any other questions for me? I think we got some other people who's supposed to talk on here, so I don't want to take up all their time. Well, matter of fact, what I'm talking about, Gigi go to 3, 4 in the morning.
Hi, Terrell. I'm going to ask you to show us an example of a move you made from the news.
Actually, matter of fact, I go to this morning. EUR USD. I actually caught this right here. Actually, can I put that back? Yeah, I'll put that back. I caught this actual entire move right here. So I ended up catching this the day before. This was news today. Again, the market moves the same way. Now I actually take that off. I had this trend line right here. The market moves the exact same way. My stuff is going lollygag. Okay, yeah. Market moves the exact same way no matter the time frame. So we got that move to the downside. Then we got a flag. We had news. Let's see. What time was it? I think it was 3:30 in the AM my time.
That's right.
It was? Okay, yeah. So
3:30.
yeah. So we got that news at 3:15, 3:30. So we had two news moves and everything like that. So going down to that area again, what did the market show me? Number one, it showed me it was in the flag overall based on my higher time frame. That's what I saw. That was number one. Number two, remember, I enter off the smaller time frame. What was happening? Me knowing in the back of my head this is an overall flag. What was happening? Price started to get very, very weak in that flag pattern. In that flag pattern, it showed me pretty much that price was about to get ready to make a big move, either to the upside or to the downside. But because I understand structure, I understand overall, I'm actually in the sale. I'm actually in the overall flag. What is a flag, guys? A correction, aka flag. It's a flag is nothing but a confirmation that price is getting ready to continue into that that move. So when I saw that happening, I knew I was guaranteed to get that move to the downside.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. The top of that. So you see the impulse, and then you see the correction. That correction looks like it was going to go up. So I actually couldn't jump in at that point, just because I couldn't figure that out right there.
Oh, okay. You talk about this correction?
No, sir. At the very top. So the big impulse, and then you have
this right here. Okay, yeah.
That looks like a correction for upside, and then it just dropped the bottom.
Yeah, but again, remember the market moves the exact same way all the way through. So when me
that's that pattern, Terrell, I told you every time I see it, I know that it's getting ready to reverse what I call
right. But not only that, if you looked at a higher time frame, if you had looked at a higher time frame, when it spiked up, number one, the news spiked this up. It was originally down here, and then out of nowhere, news pushed it up. News didn't push it up on accident. Why did it push it up? Because every time it respected what? This weekly trend line. Once it came to this weekly trend line, guess what? Even though it looked like a pattern for continuation for you, I understood based off of my higher time frame, that was nothing but a quicker route to hit that trend line for the continuation down to at least this area right here, which we're almost there pretty much. Now,
that's pretty cool, man. So I got you. So if you see a correction, to verify that correction, go to a higher time frame and verify if there's any boundaries around.
Exactly. That's how you read the overall market. That's why I always say never always know where you're at in the market. If you know you at in the market, like me knowing where I was at, I understood that, yeah, it was a big move to the upside based off of my 1 hour. Based off my 1 hour, it was like, oh, man, this thing about to take off. That was a 85 pip move to the upside. But if I go down to if I go back up to my daily, yeah, it was an 85 pip move to the upside, but it was nothing but it just helped me get to that actual overall, the end of that flag quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it just sped things along, man.
Exactly. Yep. There you go. And that the market does that all the time. Literally all the time. It'll speed something along. Matter of fact, is another one real quick. Something a pair that I barely even look at, but I've had my eyes on it.
So you are aware, like you are kind of expecting the move and being aware of it.
Yep. All the time.
Yeah.
Depending on the number one, the news event, and number two, the actual. Remember, I said like I'm only looking for great opportunities. So let's say for instance, I come into the market, I come into the week saying, man, I'm looking for GBP, AUD. But guess what? I got high impact news come Wednesday for AUD news, high impact AUD news. Now that's what I'm paying attention to. That's something that I have in the back of my head that I know I'm looking for, a big sale or a big buy on GA, whichever. I'm just giving an example. I'm looking for a big sale or a big buy. I want to determine what's going on up until that time. So when news hits, I can see my possibilities. I can see what's going on when it comes to that. Does that make sense?
Yes. How can you know if it's gonna go to for your favor or not?
Because I'm knowing where I'm at in the market. I'm looking at the patterns before. So typically, again, this is the exact same thing right here. This was news right here.
And you make it so simple.
It's just you all will get there. Trust me. Just keep studying. Like one of my students told me before me and him started working with each other. He kind of told me he was doing a lot of research on YouTube for he just was very eager to learn how to trade. And I mean I and not to sit here and like kind of toot my horn because I always anybody who know me know I like preach. I always be a student. Continue to keep learning. I always feel like I'm the worst now that I will be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So I'm always continuing to pick up learning. But you'll get there. I just say all of that to say
500 pip move in one day. You came right back up for 400 pips.
What's that?
It's coming all the way
and
back
then
down.
They give it a little in right now.
The spike because it went down.
And then
all the way back up.
You
think it'll come all the way back down here again?
Yes.
Somebody talking. Oh, okay. Appreciate that. So yeah.
I muted him.
I lost my train of thought now. But anyways, this was another news event right here. So with this news event right here, again, I knew where I was at. I seen that this was an overall flag, if you want to say. And with that overall flag, I knew we was going to get that big move to the downside. Again, we had a news event a couple of days ago. This right here. No, it wasn't that. It was this right here. This was it. We had a flag right here. We got that big drop right there. Again, the market moves the exact same way every single time, no matter what time frame I'm on, no matter whether it's going up or down. It does the exact same thing. It always flags up. If I see it, sometimes I may see a reversal pattern happening. And with that reversal pattern happening, it's telling me so a lot of times you start understanding that those patterns will continue to keep going in that reversal pattern direction until news, and then boom, it breaks out going into the direction you've been waiting on all week. It may lag all the way to Friday. It's been in that pattern since Monday, since the market opened. It'll keep doing that. But that's like when you see news, that's something you keep your eyes on. That makes sense?
Yeah, so that kind of answered my question from when I was in the chat. I asked, so when do y'all wake up and, get into trades? But so I see it's pretty much on when you see it in the market structure on the monthly and the daily, which determines when we actually, watch out for that pair, correct? With new calendar.
Exactly, yep.
Oh,
so like, I wish y'all could see my phone right now, but I literally had my alarm set. Matter of fact, let me go to it. Actually see the exact time. I had my alarm set today for 3:05 a.m. 3:05 a.m. Why was that? Because I knew we had high impact news at 3:15. So I got up, cleared my eyes with my hands, opened my laptop, made sure it was connected to my internet, went to ECAD, split my screen, and I saw what I was looking at, and I put in my sale orders based off of me looking for those actual sales. Once I looked at the charts and noticed everything, then boom, easy money, 10 minutes. Went back to sleep, enjoyed the rest of my day.
So it looks like the news goes to your direction, to your advantage.
Say that again.
It looks like the news goes to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, most of the time, understanding structure, understanding where you are in the market, like to average, not average trader, to a beginner trader, news a lot of times may, be a guessing game. Now, don't get me wrong, all the time news does not go all the time in your direction. Most time, when I say most, I want to say about 90 to 95% of the time, it goes into the direction you was expecting. And even when it doesn't go in the direction you was expecting, back testing will actually end up letting you know where it's going. If you back test it, you'll see like, oh, okay, me looking at this, now I can see why I did that. You know what I'm saying? Like I always tell everybody, you should never win or lose a trade and not learn from it. Like no one just loses just like hopefully I win the next one. Like no, I need to know why I lost. So why? So I could potentially not make that same mistake the next time. And that is continuously growing. Like, I can easily sit here and tell people I made $100,000 in 8 months, 7 months, whatever, 7.5 months. But you all, like most people don't see the consistency between that. They don't see the losses. They don't see the growing I had to do in that process of actually learning why I was losing what I was losing. Like, heck, if it wasn't for those 3 times me blowing my account at the beginning, I probably would have never seeked out help. I would have probably never got to the point where I met Lindor, and he offered and took it and took his hand and actually decided to help me or whatever the case may be. But I may have thought I was good. I may have thought I wouldn't have needed it because guess what? I was making money already. But no, I blew 3 accounts. I knew I needed more learning. So same thing. Like you're gonna lose some trades and news, but ultimately you understand that based off of your knowledge of structure, your knowledge of how the market moves, and your knowledge of where you're always at in the market, you pretty much got a good you got a good concept of where you are and what news is gonna do. And before news, you always in the back of your head you play out the different situations. This will do that because of this, that, and this, and you go from there. You just it's high risk to reward trades. Even with news, like your typical beginner would just be crossing their fingers, hoping, guessing, wishing. Like no, like this is your money, guys. Some of you all want to retire off of this thing. Some of you all want to teach your loved ones, your kids, this thing. We don't guess. We learn knowledge. You can't guess your way to $100 million. Well, I guess you can when it's all said and done. But if you starting out with $200 in your trading account, you ain't guessing your way to $1 million 7-figure earner account or $100,000. Like, no, you gotta learn. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, guys, like it's no different. We spent 18, some of us longer than that, years in school. Like man, what's a couple of hours a week to actually keep continuing your craft on something that can pay you massive amounts of money on a daily basis? You know what I'm saying? So, man, I can tell a lot of you all, or all of you all, are dedicated now just because here it is Friday, 10/13, on a Friday night. Well, shoot, 11/13 for a lot of you all, because I know a lot of people ahead of time of me on a Friday night. You all on here trying to learn. So this is what it takes, guys. This is what it takes right here. What you all are doing, and it'll come. You just like you said, I make it look easy, but I promise you, a year ago, And, I mean, this stuff looked like foreign language to me. I wish I had time, but I'll show you all my videos where it's like I was hesitant. I wasn't confident at all, but continuously studying, continuously back testing, and just getting better, learning more things. Everything I learned was a piece to overall puzzle. You don't put the whole puzzle together in 1 minute. It takes piece by piece, and then eventually, like that's why I said I'm the worst now that I will be, because I know alone outside of today, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be 2-3 weeks from now, 4 or 5 months from now. Another piece is going to be brought into my life to where I'm going to see another piece that's going to make me that much better as a trader. And then another piece, and then another piece. So that's all this is, guys. You're just putting your puzzle together. Take your time. Be patient. Enjoy the process so you can tell your story, you know? So, yeah. Any questions? Any other questions? Sometimes I can just keep talking, so I apologize.
Hey, Terrell. Guys, thank you for staying on. It's another great Friday night session, Friday Night Forex and Chill. We try to bring you something different every week. Shout out to Terrell for teaching market structure tonight, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week.